Hello and welcome to this FPL Double Game Week 27 deal sheet video with me, Holly Shand. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at the top player to buy, monitor and sell in each position. Let's get into it. Starting with defenders then, and on the buy list is Brighton's Estupiñán with 2 double game weeks coming up in the next 3. Do be aware though that he does blank in game week 28, so you need a plan to enable you to bench him in that week. But in terms of defenders, since the restart, he's 5th for key passes with 12, so he's got very good assist potential. He's probably the safest route into the Brighton defence now that we've seen Robert Sanchez get dropped in goal. And among defenders for goal involvements this season, he sits second with 5. He's got 5 assists, so that just showcases his potential for attacking returns. Moving on to the monitor list, and one player that's really caught my eye is Chelsea's Reece James, who is now back fit. A lot of us that wildcarded in game week 26 didn't include him because he wasn't fit, but to see him back playing in Graham Potter's Chelsea side, seeing Chelsea improving, seeing Potter using that wing-back system makes him a really interesting FPL asset. And Chelsea won a penalty in the Champions League on Tuesday night. Havertz took the penalty, but Potter said that it was between Havertz and Reece James for who would take that spot kick. So there is potential that we could see James on penalties. Now, Chelsea have got great fixtures. They don't blank in game week 28 and they double in game week 29. So he's a player that we may be looking to bring on board next week. Now, a lot of managers are looking to lose a defender in order to fit in maybe a Brighton defender or a Brentford defender. And I think it's fine to sell Luke Shaw this week. He seems an easy sell for a double game week player. We do need to be aware that he has got a favourable fixture this week at home to Southampton, his old club of course, but then he does blank in game week 28. So it could be a short-term sell to really maximise on the double game weeks before bringing him back for Manchester United's double game week in 29. Moving on to midfielders then, and the big headache is which Brighton midfielder to own. I think probably the strategy is to go with 2 or even 3, but if I was buying just one this week, Alexis McAllister is the one that's caught my eye. He's got fantastic underlying numbers right now. He's second for big chances among all players in the last 4 games with 5, and second for shots on target with 7. And the players that have exceeded him on those tallies have played 4 or 5 games in that period. Brighton have only played 3, and he's also third among all players for expected goal involvement over the same period with 3.8. We know he's on penalties. He's playing in that number 10 role. The reason why a lot of us didn't go with him on wildcard was just a little bit of ambiguity of what position he was going to play. But I think Roberto De Zerbi is really getting to the grips of what is his best team for Brighton, and McAllister at number 10 is really key to that. So I can't see it changing in the short term. On the monitor list is Arsenal's Martin Odegaard. He's a player that's been dropped by a number of managers for this week, still quite highly owned, but I really think it's worth holding on to him despite those fire sales. Obviously, there's no double game week in 27 or 29 for Arsenal, but they do have really nice fixtures in that spell and arguably have the pick of the fixtures in the blank game week 28 as well. And the underlying numbers still remain very strong. Second for shots over the last 4 game weeks with 21 and top for key passes with 18. We know he's a big bonus point magnet as well, and he scored in a reverse fixture against Fulham as well. Moving on to the sell list, Riyad Mahrez, I said monitor him last week. Now we've seen him dropped again. We need to sell him. He's played just 78 minutes in the last 4 game weeks. He seems to be sharing minutes with Foden on that right-hand side for City, with Grealish locked in on the left. And we always see this happens with Mahrez. When the Champions League rolls back around, he becomes a rotation risk once again. Foden has started 3 of the last 4. He's got 3 attacking returns in his last 2. So now that Foden's back fully fit, I think he's probably got the edge over Mahrez now. And add into the mix a blank for City in game week 28 and then just a single game week fixture against Liverpool in 29. I think it's the perfect storm to sell Mahrez. Moving on to forwards then, and on the buy list is Ivan Toney, probably the only essential for the double game week. Very highly owned player for that double, is an easy captain pick for this week as well. And he was on the monitor list last week because he is 2 yellow cards away from a suspension. But given that he avoided a yellow card in game week 26, he is safe to play in both of those double game week 27 fixtures, and that court hearing that we're expecting for those FA charges isn't until April. So I'm hopeful now that Toney can be a good pick for the next few games. Remember, Brentford have a fixture in the blank 28 and double again in 29, so 5 fixtures in the next 3. And then you look at the stats, only Kane and Haaland have got more goals this season than Toney, and only Kane, Haaland and Trippier have more bonus points than him, and that's what makes him such an attractive captain asset for this week as well. On the monitor list is Harry Kane. I think a lot of managers trying to get Toney in are going from Kane to Toney, which I do feel is really risky. We've got a period of change coming from Spurs, but in terms of single game week options, I know there's no doubles for Spurs in the short term, but as a single game week option in the next 3, Kane is really appealing. Really nice fixtures. He's projected to score around 10 points this week. He got a brace in the reverse fixture against Nottingham Forest. He could even be the go-to captain pick in blank game week 28. So be really careful. I can understand if you've got Haaland and Watkins, why you might want to go from Kane to Toney, but I actually feel like Haaland to Toney could be the better route, because City, obviously, great fixture this week against Crystal Palace, but then a blank, and then a single game week fixture against Liverpool in 29. On the sell list, this player's been in and out of the deal sheet, mostly on the sell list for most of the season. It's Alexander Mitrovic. He is back fit now, but in the last 5 games that he started, he's not got a single goal involvement. Fulham have scored 4 goals in that time. Solomon seems to be really excelling, and Mitrovic seems to be fading a little bit. And the concern is that he's had just 2 big chances in that same period, and one of those fixtures was against Newcastle, where he took the penalty, which was counted as a big chance. So he's really not, delivering, and the stats are backing that up. And given that Fulham play Arsenal this week, then have a blank in 28, it's definitely the time to jump off. I feel sorry for anyone that's been holding Mitrovic through this period. Get your transfer dilemmas in before the deadline. I aim to answer all of your questions in the comments within 24 hours of this video going live. And remember, I'll be back tomorrow, Friday, 1 p.m. UK time, with the press conference stream where I'll be revealing my final team. Do not miss it. Good luck for FPL Game Week 27.